is a person in your life right now, maybe more than one, whose power over you depends on a mechanism so simple and so invisible that you have never thought to name it. They do not have authority over you. They do not have money over you. They do not even have, in most cases, anything you actually want from them. And yet, when they speak, you tighten. When they criticize, you flinch. When they withdraw their approval, you feel a small sickness in your stomach that you cannot quite locate the source of. They have power. You can feel it. And if you tried to explain to a neutral observer where that power comes from, you would not be able to. Because it does not come from anywhere visible. It comes from somewhere you have never looked. This essay is about that somewhere. About the precise psychological mechanism through which a person who has no real power over you ends up holding enormous power over you. About why the mechanism is invisible to the people it operates on. And about what happens, what actually, observably, immediately happens the moment you stop participating in it. Because the strange and unbearable truth, the thing that the people who depend on this mechanism do not want you to discover, is that their power is not their power. It is your reaction. And the day you stop providing the reaction, their power evaporates so completely and so fast that it would be comedic if it were not also one of the most liberating experiences a human being can have. Let's begin with a specific picture, because the abstraction will not land until you can see it. Imagine a small machine. It has one button on the front. The button is connected by an internal wire to a light bulb on top. When the button is pressed, the bulb lights up. When the bulb lights up, the machine produces a small sound, a hum, a satisfying note, and the machine in some way feels alive. The machine exists because of the button. The button exists for the bulb. The bulb exists for the hum. And without the hum, the machine is just an arrangement of materials sitting on a table, doing nothing, being nothing. Now imagine that this machine is not a machine. It is a person, and the button on the front of the machine is not a button. It is you, or more precisely, it is your reaction. The light bulb is the feeling of power that ignites in the other person when your reaction occurs. The hum is the sense of significance, of matching, of being real that the feeling of power generates inside them. The machine, the person, is built around this circuit. They have constructed an entire interior life that depends on pressing the button and watching the bulb light up. And they have been doing it to you in small ways or large ones, for as long as you have known them, sometimes consciously, often not. And the entire architecture of their power over you, which you have spent years trying to understand by analyzing what they say and what they do, was never about what they say or what they do. It was about your reaction, the button, the thing they need from you in order for the bulb to light up and the hum to begin. This is one of the oldest discoveries of the strategic traditions of every culture that ever produced one, and it is also one of the most important contributions of depth psychology to the modern understanding of human relationships. The strategic traditions called it different things in different times: the principle of leverage, the architecture of dependency, the asymmetry of need, but the underlying observation was always the same. In any human dynamic that involves a power differential, the person who needs the dynamic less holds the power, regardless of any other factor. And depth psychology added the crucial second observation, the one that makes the strategic principle livable in real human terms. The thing the more powerful person actually needs from the dynamic is not what they appear to need. They do not need your agreement. They do not need your obedience. They do not need your love. What they need at the deepest mechanical level of their inner economy is your reaction. Specifically, they need the reaction that confirms to them that they exist in the form they have constructed themselves to exist in. And without that confirmation, the form they have constructed begins to dissolve. You can see how this changes everything if you have eyes to see it. The person who has been wielding power over you is not powerful. They are dependent. They are, in fact, the more vulnerable party in the dynamic, because their interior coherence requires something from you that you have been providing without knowing you were providing it. The moment you stop providing it, they lose access to the mechanism that keeps them together. This is why, when you stop reacting to certain people, the response is so disproportionate. They escalate. They accuse you of having changed. They become desperate in ways that seem out of proportion to anything you actually did. They behave sometimes like a person whose oxygen supply has been cut off because, at the psychological level we are describing, that is exactly what has happened. The button is no longer working. The bulb is no longer lighting up. The hum has stopped. And the machine, for the first time in years, is just an arrangement of materials sitting on a table with no idea what to do with itself. Now let's get specific about who the people in your life are who have been wielding this mechanism against you. Because the language of buttons and bulbs is evocative, but until you can map it onto specific human beings in your actual life, it remains abstract. There are several characteristic types, and you almost certainly have one of them, minimum, close to you right now. The first type is the chronic critic. This is the person whose primary mode of interaction with you involves a steady, low-grade stream of evaluation. They notice what you are wearing. They have an opinion about what you are doing. They have feedback on your career, your relationship, your apartment, your weight, your tone of voice. They frame all of it as caring, as honesty, as the kind of truth-telling that less honest people are too cowardly to offer you. And underneath the steady stream of evaluation, something is happening to them that they cannot fully see. Each time they evaluate you and you respond by defending yourself, by explaining yourself, by adjusting yourself, by getting upset, by trying to convince them they are wrong, any of it, the bulb on top of their machine lights up. They feel in that moment that they have a vantage point on your life. They feel that they matter. They feel that they exist as someone whose perspective shapes someone else's reality. And that feeling, for them, is essential to maintaining the version of themselves they need to be. They are not a critic because they care. They are a critic because the criticism, when it produces your reaction, generates the only feeling of significance that their inner life is currently able to produce. Stop reacting to this person and watch what happens. Not stop loving them, not stop seeing them, just stop providing the reaction. Receive the criticism with neutral, unaffected acknowledgement. Do not defend, do not explain, do not adjust, do not argue. The criticism, deprived of the reaction it was designed to extract, will hang in the air for a few seconds and then dissolve. The critic will try again, more pointedly. You will not react again. They will try a third time with greater force or with a different angle. You will not react again. And within a few interactions, sometimes within a single interaction, something will shift. They will become uncertain. They will become quieter. They will, in some cases, leave. Because what they were doing was not actually about you. It was about the bulb on their machine, and the bulb is no longer lighting up, and they cannot continue the behavior in the absence of its reward. The second type is the chronic destabilizer. This is the person whose primary mode is the small, deniable provocation. The comment that almost sounds like a compliment but is not. The question that is technically reasonable but has a slight edge. The reference to something embarrassing from your past, raised in a tone that lets them claim, if challenged, that they were just being friendly. The withholding of approval at the moment you most needed it. The withdrawal of warmth without explanation. The destabilizer is not as obvious as the critic, because everything they do can be defended as innocent. But the cumulative effect of being around them is that you feel constantly slightly off balance, slightly defensive, slightly compelled to prove yourself, slightly less than you would feel in any other room. And the destabilizer, like the critic, is feeding on the small reactions you provide. The flicker of insecurity that crosses your face when they make the deniable comment. The defensive tone in your response that lets them claim you are being sensitive. the over-explanation that confirms to them that they have located one of your soft places. Each of these is a bulb lighting up on their machine. Each of these is the hum. Stop reacting to this person. Receive the deniable comment with genuine, unforced calm. Do not look for the insult buried in it. Do not respond to the implied dig. Receive only the surface neutrally and move on. They will escalate. They will become less deniable. They will eventually drop the disguise entirely and produce something obvious. And at that moment, you will see them finally for what they have been doing, because the obvious version cannot be defended as innocent. Some will, at this point, become genuinely hostile and the dynamic will end. Some will, more rarely, become curious about what has changed, and a different kind of relationship may begin. But the version that was running before, the one in which they destabilized and you stabilized them by reacting, that version is over the moment you stop providing the reaction. The third type is the energy harvester. This is the person whose entire relationship with you is built around the extraction of your attention and emotional labor. They appear in your life primarily when they are in crisis. They demand your presence, your listening, your problem-solving, your reassurance. They explode into your inbox or your phone in waves of urgency, take what they need, and recede. They are not interested in you. They are interested in what you provide. And what they provide in return is the implicit promise that your providing earns you status as a good person, a loyal friend, a generous partner, someone whose generosity is being recognized and appreciated. The promise is never quite kept. There is always another crisis. The reciprocation, when it occurs, is small and tactical, just enough to keep you invested. And the cumulative effect over years is that you are drained, and they are sustained, and they continue to perceive themselves as the generous one because they have constructed, in their own minds, an elaborate accounting in which they are giving and you are receiving. This is the most insidious of the three types, because it disguises itself as friendship, as family, as love. And the reaction it depends on is not your distress. It is your availability. They do not need you to feel bad. They need you to come running. Each time you do, the bulb lights up. The machine hums. Stop reacting to this person, not by ceasing to love them, but by becoming, slowly and without announcement, less available. And you will discover something that is sometimes devastating to discover. The relationship was not what you thought it was. The crises were not what you thought they were. The bond, when you stopped fueling it, was thinner than you ever realized. Some of the harvesters in your life, when starved, will leave. Some will return as actual friends, capable of relating to you when there is nothing immediately being extracted. Most will simply find another source, and you will find that the space they leave behind is, after a brief mourning, a kind of quiet you had forgotten was possible. If something in this is starting to land, if you can feel the truth of the mechanism, even uncomfortably, take 1 second now and subscribe to this channel. The work we do here is for the ones who are ready to see the dynamics they have been inside of without seeing. Hit the bell while you are there. Now let's go deeper, because we have only described the mechanism externally, and there is something happening inside you that explains why the mechanism worked on you in the first place. Until you see that the people who have been wielding it on you will continue to find new versions of themselves to send into your life. Why does the button on your front panel work at all? Why do you have one? Why does your reaction get extracted so easily and so consistently by people whose interior lives depend on the extraction? The answer is in your own history, and it is in the precise place inside you where the wiring was originally installed. When you were a child, you learned, by 1,000 signals you did not consciously absorb, that your worth was conditional. That you were loved when you produced certain feelings in the people around you and not when you produced others. That your emotional environment rewarded specific reactions and punished others. And in response to that environment, you wired yourself, deeply and durably, to monitor the people around you with extraordinary sensitivity and to produce, on demand, the reactions that maintained your access to love and safety. The wiring did not turn off when you grew up. It is still there. It is still running. It is still scanning every interaction for what the other person seems to need from you, and producing it, often before you are even conscious of deciding to. And the people who wield the mechanism we have been describing are, in effect, exploiting the wiring that was installed in you decades ago by a small child who needed it to survive. They are not necessarily doing it consciously. Many of them are also running their own wiring, also doing what they learned to do as children to extract the reactions they needed for their own survival. The whole dynamic, viewed from a distance, is two pieces of childhood wiring talking to each other in adult bodies, neither of them aware that they are not actually the participants, that the participants are the small children inside them, executing strategies they learned before they could read. This is where the work begins to shift from external strategy to internal transformation. Because you can, in the short term, simply stop reacting to the people in your life who depend on your reactions. You can apply the technique. It will work. The relationships will reorganize around your new behavior in the ways we described. But unless you do the deeper work, the wiring inside you will still be there. The button on your front panel will still be functional, and new people will find it. Different people in different contexts will discover that you respond to particular signals, and the dynamic will install itself in your life again in new forms. The only durable solution is not to stop reacting. The only durable solution is to dismantle the wiring that produced the reaction in the first place. That work is what the depth tradition calls integration. The slow, careful project of bringing into consciousness the parts of you that were exiled by the original environment, and of letting them come home so that they no longer need to be extracted by external pressure. The reactions that the chronic critic was extracting were extracting your repressed sense of inadequacy, the part of you that, deep down, has been waiting for someone to confirm that you are not enough. The reactions that the chronic destabilizer was extracting were extracting your repressed self-doubt, the part of you that, deep down, has been waiting for someone to confirm that you should not trust yourself. The reactions that the energy harvester was extracting were extracting your repressed neediness, the part of you that, deep down, has been waiting for someone to need you so badly that you would not have to feel your own need. Each external dynamic was, in effect, a mirror of an internal exile. And as long as the exile remains, the external mirror will keep finding its way back into your life, regardless of how many specific people you cut out. The work of integration is to acknowledge, deliberately and consciously, the existence of the exiled material. To stop pretending the inadequacy is not in you, the self-doubt is not in you, the neediness is not in you. To allow these parts to exist within your conscious self-image without being immediately suppressed. And to give them, finally, the attention they were seeking from the outside, but from your own attention rather than from the attention of people who were never going to give it kindly. This sounds simple. It is not. It is some of the hardest interior work a human being can do, and it cannot be done in a weekend, and it cannot be done by reading about it, and it cannot be done by intellectually understanding the framework. It can only be done by sitting, repeatedly, with the parts of yourself you have spent your life refusing, and allowing them, without shame and without panic, to be part of who you are. But here is the thing that makes the work worth doing, the thing that almost everyone who has done it eventually discovers. As you integrate the exiled material, the button on your front panel stops functioning. Not because you have removed it, but because the energy it was running on is no longer available. The chronic critic can still criticize, but the criticism no longer activates the exile because the exile is no longer hidden. The destabilizer can still attempt to destabilize, but the attempts no longer find the soft place, because the soft place has been claimed and acknowledged and is no longer soft in the same way. The energy harvester can still demand, but the demand no longer triggers the urgent compliance, because the part of you that needed to be needed has been welcomed home and is no longer outsourcing its need to external situations. The machine on your front panel is still there. It just does not work anymore. And the people who were depending on it for their bulb lighting drift away because their mechanism has nothing to grip on you any longer. There is a specific quality that emerges in a person who has done this work, and the quality is sometimes called sovereignty in the older strategic traditions. Sovereignty is not the absence of feeling. The sovereign person is not cold. They feel everything. The sovereign person is not invulnerable either. They can be hurt, they can be wounded, they can be moved. But there is a structural quality to their interior life that the people who have not done the work do not have. Their reactions are no longer extractable on demand. Their inner state is no longer controlled from the outside by the well-placed cues of someone who wants to extract something from them. They have, in effect, retracted the wiring from the public space and brought it home, where it is now the property of their own conscious self rather than the property of anyone with the right keys. You can feel the sovereign person when you meet them. You can feel that the usual cues are not working on them. You can feel that there is no button on the front panel for you to press. You can feel that if you wanted to extract a particular reaction from them, you would have to do work that you do not know how to do, and that work would still probably not succeed. The sovereign person is not unreachable. The sovereign person is simply not extractable. And the difference between the two is enormous. The unreachable person is defended, walled off behind some kind of armor. The sovereign person is open, available, present, and yet not extractable because what would have been extracted is no longer exiled and therefore no longer producing the urgent pressure that previously made it extractable. They are open. They are also whole. And the wholeness is what makes the openness safe, not just for them but for everyone who interacts with them. So here is what this essay has been working toward, and it is the practical heart of everything we have discussed. The people who have been wielding power over you have been wielding the reactions you have been providing. Not the reactions you provide because you chose to provide them. The reactions you provide because the wiring was installed in you a long time ago by the original environment, and the wiring has been doing what it was installed to do without your conscious consent. The work, then, is two-layered. The short-term, immediate, external layer is to stop providing the reactions to specific people whose dynamic depends on extracting them. Watch what happens. Watch the bulb stop lighting up. Watch the dynamic reorganize. The long-term, internal, durable layer is to dismantle the wiring itself, to do the work of integration, to bring home the exiled material that has been providing the energy the wiring runs on, and to become, over years, the sovereign person whose reactions are no longer for sale, no longer extractable on cue, no longer providing the substance that other people have been using to construct their own sense of significance at your expense. You will lose people in this process. Some of them will be people you thought you loved. Some of them you will discover were not loving you. They were running on you, using you as the fuel for a machine you did not know they were running. The losses are real. The losses also clarify, because what remains after the extractors leave is the small, dense, real group of people who were not running on you, who were relating to you as a person rather than as a power source, who do not need anything specific from you in order for their interior life to function. These people exist. They are rarer than the culture suggests, but they exist. And the way to find them is to make yourself gradually and deliberately useless as a power source, so that the people who remain in your life are the ones who never needed you to be one. There is one more thing to say, and it is the most important thing, and it is the thing that, if you take only one piece of this with you, you should take. The mechanism we have been describing, the button, the bulb, the hum, is, in its own way, a kind of insult to your humanity. It treats you as a power source rather than as a person. And as long as you are participating in it, you are accepting the insult. You are agreeing to be a means to someone else's interior coherence. You are agreeing to let your inner life be the raw material from which they manufacture the version of themselves they need to be. This is not a position any person should accept, no matter how the relationship is framed, no matter how the dependence is disguised, no matter how genuine the affection appears to be on the surface. The day you stop participating is the day you stop accepting the insult. And the moment you stop accepting the insult, something in you, the part that has been quietly aware of the situation all along, the part that has been waiting for you to act on what it knew, stands up inside you and becomes available for the first time in years as a resource for the building of an actual life. That life looks different from the one you have been living. It has fewer people in it. It has more space in it. It has a quality of quiet that you may not have experienced in years, because the noise that used to fill it was the noise of other people's machines running on you, and the noise has stopped because the machines have stopped. The quiet is, at first, unfamiliar, can even feel for a while like loneliness. But it is not loneliness. It is the sound of a person who has finally retrieved themselves from the machinery of other people's interior economies, and who is now, perhaps for the first time, available to live as themselves. If this reached the place that the noise usually drowns out, do something now. Write in the comments these 3 words: "My button's gone." Just that, so that I can see how many of us are standing in the new quiet. And if this video moved something in you, give it a like, not for me, but as a small acknowledgement to yourself that you saw the machinery for what it was. The next video continues into the harder layer of this work. What to do when the people whose machines you have stopped running discover that you have changed and decide they want their power source back. It is more important than you know. I will see you there.